teachable. Some of you probably didn't do that.
Yeah. With me is Østergaard, the Danish, Veterinary and Food Administration, and the Vice Chair of Codex Alimentarius. What commission? Yeah. What does that mean for Denmark?
What does it mean? It means that we show that we are active participants in the Codex Alimentarius. We want really to support the organization, to make sure that it fulfills its obviously we also hope to have a bit of influence on the progress of the organization. But we certainly do not intend to push particularly Danish interests in the Codex. That is not the intention of the
So how does the Codex Alimentarius organization function?
I think if you compare it to the resources that we have, I think it functions very well. Thanks to good organization in Rome, where the Secretariat is, it's my belief that the staff in the Secretariat are quite efficient and good, qualified people. And also thanks to the fact that it's a very decent organization which has Secretariat and the different committees spread around. And it is my sincere impression that all the governments that have taken on board to host the committee do their best to organize it and to fulfill the mandate of the Codex. So basically, I think it's an efficient organization. I know that it takes a long time to develop a new standard in Codex, but that is common to international cooperation in general. So I don't think Codex is unique or negative.
Is it all about lobbying?
Obviously, there's a lot of lobbying around Codex, as there is about any political process in the Danish Parliament. There will be organizations who try to influence the members of the Parliament. And obviously, at Codex level, there will also be organizations who try to lobby to influence the organization. That's part of the political life in the modern world. But I don't think it has a negative influence in the way that it is being Codex standards are being manipulated by organizations in general. I think these organizations play a fair role in the system, and the important thing about their presence in the Codex system is that we have full transparency. Who are they? What are they doing? And what are their interests? If that is the case, and everybody knows what goes on, it is not detrimental to the function of the Codex, in my opinion.
From the Danish point of view, how much time do you think, or man hours, is used by Denmark in its connections with Codex?
I have no idea, but it takes a lot of time because Denmark, where we prioritize participation, we certainly do not participate in all Codex commissions because we don't have resources to do that. So we pick those that are most interesting in our opinion, and we send delegations to them, but you can't measure the effort in just picking how many days, what are the costs of sending people, because the major part of work is actually desk work at home, preparing, following up on what goes on, replying to circular letters, etc. So I would expect that we spent several years in Codex work altogether.
But how does a small country, Papua New Guinea or someone like that, manage?
Well, they cannot manage to the same extent as we can in Denmark, which is, in comparison, a much richer country where we have a lot more resources. But that is also a problem to such countries. But I think their major problem is to the background work, all the scientific data that they need to collect to be full-scale partners in the system. That takes a lot of resources, and that's very difficult for developing countries. And obviously, they also diminished in their influence because they simply don't have the resources to send people, to send delegations and things like that. But again, if somebody supports them within the framework of capacity building, as we call it in this context, and they're qualified people, they can have a lot of influence because if one or two good persons show up and know that they have understood what it's about and have made up their mind what they want to achieve, what are the interests of their country, they can certainly have influence too. So everybody can play their game in the Codex system.
So you don't have instances where you've got a large country beating down a small country?
No. Obviously, large countries have more influence than small countries in general, simply because they have more resources to put into Codex. I mean, that is nothing particular for Codex. That's how the world works, in my opinion.
Okay. Codex Alimentarius is not known, or very little known among politicians, the public.
Sorry, I didn't.
Codex Alimentarius is little known in Denmark among politicians and the public and so on. Should it be more known, or is it best that it works in the background and the politicians get the...
No, I think I would appreciate that it was more known and people were more acquainted with the good things that the Codex is actually doing. But I think the Codex is suffering from the same problems as many other organizations. If you don't produce very negative results or scandals, the media are not really interested. I mean, that's the general experience, not only in Codex, but in all types of work that we do as government civil servants. So I don't think Codex is particular. I think that there is a very negative thing about Codex. Many places in the world there are organizations who try to miscredit Codex by sending a lot of false information around media via the internet and modern means of communication, which try to spread a lot of false information about the Codex for different reasons that I shouldn't really analyze in this context. But I think that's a very very sad thing that we see this spreading misinformation, very rough misinformation. I dislike that a lot.
Okay. Kund Østergaard, Deputy Chair of the Codex Alimentarius Commission. Thank you much.
Thank you.
Michael Helene for the Copenhagen Press.